Okay.
Hey guys, it's Bobby Kelly with eXp Realty and living in Cincinnati. I'm here with Lisa Parker at Design Buzz Staging, and we're here to talk about the importance of staging and why it can make a great impact on your house. So thank you so much, Lisa, for being here.
Thanks for having us.
And we're here in her warehouse out in Batavia, Ohio, and it is packed full of some of the most amazing furniture I've ever seen, and how she does it is beyond me, but I'm really excited to learn all about it. So are you ready for my round of questions?
I am.
Okay. So the first question is, how can staging enhance the appeal of a property to attract potential buyers?
So I think probably the biggest thing is that the photos that go on MLS are already eye-catching and engaging. So I think it kind of starts with the first step in home buying, where people start to look online. So it helps buyers book that appointment to come see the house. And then obviously once they're there, it's a whole experience.
Yeah, I love that. I know that 92% of home buyers find their home that they eventually close on the internet. So having those pictures looking so much fuller and better with staging really does make an impact in our business. So I love that. And then second question, what are some key tips that you can give sellers to create a more welcoming atmosphere using staging as an avenue for that?
So I would really even start outside before we even get to the staging. But are there home numbers on the outside? Is the landscaping nice? Is the front door painted? The hardware looks nice? Because people are already starting to make that opinion as they're being welcomed into your home. And then once they're there, I think it's really that experience of just being in a house that is beautifully staged. So it's kind of the experience when you go to the home shows or the model homes. It's a different experience, and I always kind of liken it to like Walmart versus Pottery Barn. So one you can't wait to leave, and one you want to linger. So my tips would really be start from the outside in, creating that welcoming atmosphere so that once they're there, they can enjoy it.
I love that analogy of Pottery Barn and Walmart. That's actually a really great way to kind of understand the appeal and why people stay longer. And as we all know as realtors, the longer that people stay in a house, the more likely they are to make an offer on it. So we want them to be in as long as possible.
Yeah, they say a staged home, actually they stay 40 minutes, and a vacant home it can be 6. So that's really a good statistic.
Yeah, definitely. So as a stager, how do you collaborate with us as realtors to kind of create the best results for our mutual clients?
So it definitely is a collaboration, and we really want to work super closely with our realtors. So the first thing would be, who is that target buyer? So understanding, is this a first-time home buyer? Can we go young and fun with our decor? Is this a, $750,000 house in Mason, where it's maybe somebody more my own age and we don't want the mid-century modern low couch to get off of? So that we're really relating to that buyer, the mass appeal. So that's probably one of the key pieces, is knowing who are we staging for. And then also any specific things, like we just did a house in a golf neighborhood, and I probably wouldn't have paid attention to that because I really don't golf, but we put a little putting green out the back, just to highlight that it is a golf community. And that was a realtor suggestion, and I was like, oh, that's brilliant. And another one we just did, the realtor suggested like an artist studio, because it's kind of in an arty community. So we totally listened to that and staged to who, again, may be buying the property.
Yeah, that's awesome that you take that extra step to do so, to think about the actual community that it's in and what is attractive in that community, as opposed to, like you said, mentioned a golf community. I love that. I think that's brilliant. I think that's awesome.
Well, and it's fun because we get to challenge ourselves with different things sometimes.
Yeah, and it really sets you apart from your competition when people who are perhaps artists want to visualize their art studio in there, and that really helps to set the stage for that. So I love that. So can you share like a success story that you've had about a property that you staged that achieved results beyond expectations of the, even the realtors or the sellers' expectations for their results?
Yeah, actually we just had a house, and I always think people think staging is for high-end homes, but a lot of our homes are actually in the 200s, and I think they sometimes need the staging the most because they're harder to visualize. How do you fit furniture maybe in these smaller spaces? So we had a realtor who did their comps, and they were going to list for 220, and we went ahead and staged it. They walked through and they were like, this looks amazing. I think it's worth 240. So they raised it 20,000, and then it went on the market, and we received an offer 50,000 over the 240.
Wow.
So, and it wasn't that, you know, the realtor didn't do their homework or that, you know, their comps weren't correct. It's just, I think that it was just staged really well. I'll give ourselves credit, but that everybody wanted this house and they were willing to pay for it. And that's kind of an example of when people walk through a vacant home, it's more of a business transaction. And when they go through a staged home, they make that emotional connection and they make an emotional offer, which tends to be higher because they really, really want it. So I think that was probably our highest percentage over that was unexpected.
That's amazing. So you essentially got them $70,000 more than what they were initially thinking they were going to get. And I know that the staging didn't cost $70,000. So to reiterate, it is an investment that you make into selling your property that will yield you amazing results. So
yeah, so I think that stage was about $2,200 to just put a number out there.
Mm-hmm.
And the minimum return on investment nationwide is 564% for staging, which is, even in this market when everything is selling, because that's always the feedback we hear, is everything will sell. And we say, it will sell, but how much more money do you want for it? So
right, yeah, definitely. It's money well spent, I will say.
Yeah.
It's $2,200 to yield another $70,000 is a great return on your investment.
Yeah.
Awesome. So what are the latest trends that you're seeing when it comes to, you know, property staging, and how do you stay ahead of these trends to incorporate them into your properties that you go into to stage?
So one of the things is that we love about staging is we always get to shop. Like, it never ends. So we're always like, ooh, we want that. We want, you know, the latest, greatest thing that we can use. And we're just terrible about not spending money. We just can't help ourselves. But we watch all the same shows. We're always, you know, because we are designers. So keeping up with trends is important. We also aren't super trendy, so we try to see where we are, because what they're doing in California takes a good probably 6 or 7 years to make it here. Like, they're doing the cone shades are back, like, instead of the drum shades. And I can't bring myself to buy them yet because they're not in here. So, but I guarantee you probably in 3 or 4 years we'll be having cone shades. But we do follow a lot of that, and I think current trends are kind of a little more simplified. So you know, you don't see tables all decked out and, you know, place settings and whatever. It's just a simple centerpiece, a lot of greenery. People are moving away from all the grays. It's kind of cold and sterile, so more colors, more wood tones. Earth tones are in, so we do really follow those trends, and we get tired of our own, you know, inventory, so we like to change it up a lot.
Oh yeah, that's good that you mentioned that, because I always would tell my clients whenever they would ask me, you know, stick to your grays and your blues, but if earth tones are in, it's something I need to adjust in my processes.
Now the grays are in, so
a
little more warm, like a beige and a grayish. So.
I think it looks better anyway. Grays are kind of boring, but I digress. Let's go on to the next one. So how does staging exactly go about helping buyers like visualize themselves in the space? So making that connection to, you know, their future potential home.
I think it's really, it goes back to that emotional connection where you just can envision the space. So if I look at even my parents' house in Florida, which was beautiful, but they recently went to list it and I had to help them. And, you know, you get used to seeing your own items. So when we can take out the giant, you know, hutch or armoire that nobody's using anymore, and that gives it a dated feel, And I think then when we can bring in items that are current trend and open up the space a lot, that's when buyers can really kind of relate to that. And we tend to decorate maybe a little more feminine sometimes too, because I think it's women who kind of drive that bus as far as making, like decisions for the family. Like I could see my kid in this bedroom. I can see us, like front porches. We love to stage, whether or not you're really going to sit out there and drink your coffee.
Yeah.
But it kind of sets that tone when you're walking up, like, oh, this is so cute. I could sit out here and watch my kids, bicycle or whatever. Same with outdoor back patios. We think those are really important spaces to stage. It's all about creating that, potential for a space.
Yeah. I think I totally agree. Having that emotional connection to it, and then appealing to, usually, not to stereotype, but usually the females in the family are the ones that make a lot of the design choices, and appealing to that audience is super important to make sure that you have a well-rounded decision, I guess, when you're purchasing a home. So awesome. Yeah. So as a stager extraordinaire, what are some mistakes that you're seeing the DIY stagers or at-home stagers make when they're maybe thinking about listing their property?
So I think sometimes people think just putting furniture in a room is staging, or leaving the bed that they weren't going to take with them to their new move is staging, but that's better than an empty room. And I think that's probably the biggest mistake we see, is it's not a complete look. So there may not be art. When we stage a bedroom, there's loads of pillows, there's a throw, there's baskets, there's greenery, accessory. It's like all the layers are kind of what make that. So I think sometimes it's kind of the leftovers that are left, and that's what people feel. And like, okay, that's a bedroom with a bed in it, but it's clearly not like loved. And I think it's like the ugly stepchildren kind of get left behind. I didn't say that.
No, it's fine. I love it.
But I think it's kind of, like the things you were planning on selling anyway sometimes get left, and they don't want to pay for staging, so that's kind of the solution. But I think it just kind of sets a tone that this is outdated furniture that nobody wanted, and so it doesn't really make you go in and go, wow, like this is amazing. And that's really the biggest difference. Or people love their stuff a lot, and it may not be who the potential buyer is going to be. So if my 81-year-old mother who loves her stuff, but that's probably not going to appeal to the 30-year-old family that might be moving in that wants something more current and up to date. So sometimes loving your own furnishings, a lot, and then not being willing to kind of go for a change to get the most money might be another issue.
Yeah, I heard one really great realtor told me once that decorating is for the individual and staging is for the masses. So you're staging to create a strategic niche in the marketplace that will appeal to that next buyer that's going to come in and pay the most money for your property. So you don't necessarily have to like it, you just have to like the results.
Right, exactly.
Yes.
You just need to like the paycheck.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Then once it's sold, you don't even have to think about it again.
Right, yes.
How do you approach a situation working with a client that's maybe hesitant about staging? It's an additional cost that they're going to incur. How do you explain to them why it's an important cost that they need to incur?
I think visuals are probably the best way. So taking them through a website like ours that just shows, the after, and then even showing them MLS photos of things that are listed that have nothing in them or are outdated. And if you can find something in their area that's staged, kind of the difference of just what that looks like and which one they relate to. So I think we have a friend realtor who has a booklet, and some of the pictures aren't staged and some of them are, and I think it's a great tool to kind of really highlight what's the connection in the photo, or what room is this. A lot of times we play that game, like, oh, what room is that? A bedroom? Is
Yeah.
it a dining room? Because you just can't tell scale. You can't tell anything without some furniture in it.
Agreed. Yeah, there are a lot of weird houses out there, and sometimes you don't know what that room was used for, or maybe the home is so old that it was a room that was used for something back when it was constructed, but now it, it doesn't really have a big purpose. And staging, I've noticed at least, can help people identify what the room is used for, how it could be used in the future, and give it a purpose. So that's a great point to make. And then the final question, can you share just your top 3 staging tips that everyone should be doing when they're thinking about selling their home?
Well, I always say if you're going on the market, I always try to stress to homeowners, like, you have 30 days in this market. Like, it could go, you go live Friday, 30 days from now, you're going to be having to be out of this house. So anything you can pack up now is a great help to you in the future. So if you can pack up all your winter clothes so that the closets look better, now is the time to do that. So get a jump on packing, because it'll only help the house. The second thing, which really isn't necessarily staging, but it is, because it just needs to be super clean. Like, just, we say put your toilet bowl brushes away, put the plunger away, pick up the floor mats. Just, that's real life. But I always compare it to like a hotel. Just you want to think of everything as pristine and clean, and that nobody lives there. You just kind of want to get the feeling that I'm going to be in the shower and it's amazingly clean. So I'd say cleaning, decluttering, obviously, and really just getting rid of anything that you're really not going to use. Some furniture, obviously, we work with partial stages too, where we can use what people have and bring in some art and accessories. I think art is something that always kind of gets dated. So sometimes just a few pieces can really update a space, because not everybody has to, if you can't move out or whatever, we can come to you and bring some pieces that'll help. But I would still say a lot of people, it's like that chair that's really comfortable, but it's, really well worn. Like, let's put it in the garage, because we don't want people to have that impression of the house, like that they're not taking care of it. So yeah, I think cleaning and starting to pack early, and just kind of evaluating the pieces that you're going to keep. So again, now's the time to put it on Marketplace if you're not going to take it to your new house. So.
Yeah, definitely. I've seen some houses where people have accumulated, they've lived in the house for 10 plus years, and they've accumulated a large amount of things that maybe they aren't ready to get rid of yet, but you're going to move anyway. So packing it up is a, great way to get started, so that Miss Lisa here can come in and bring in the really cool furniture to make your house look amazing.
Yeah.
Awesome. Did you have any other things that you wanted to just add about, your profession and why it's important when you're thinking about listing your home?
I just think that the misconception is that staging might be really expensive, but I could just show you all the data and what we see of how much it helps homes. And even in this market where everything will sell, but we are starting to see houses sit a little longer, and we're getting more calls for homes that are on the market that now need staged because they're not moving. And some of them are updated, but they're just a lot of gray, and they have no personality, and it's again that feeling that you get. But I would just implore you to even just see what it would cost, and then weigh your options as far as what the return on that investment would be, because I'm just such a proponent, because we see it all the time and we like to help people. So the biggest way we can help you is make more money.
Definitely. And as any of my sellers will know, any of Bobby Sells Cincy clients get Lisa's staging professions for free, provided by me, so that they can learn about what they can do to their own property to stage it, make it better, and then what Lisa can bring in to make it even better than that. So don't forget about that. And thank you so much for answering all of the questions. And yeah, thank you all so much for listening to this amazing video. I had so much fun asking you all these questions. So don't forget to like and subscribe at Living in Cincinnati. And thanks. Bye.
Bye.